reporting on the games you love by people who love to game. The MMO Reporter Network.
You're logging into your favorite game, grinding out some gear. A couple of points added to your stats and you have a virtual beer. Max level is pretty cool, but I'll remind you here, my friend, these games are not about the goal, it's about the journey and not the end.
You're listening to MMO Reporter, brought to you by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook download at audibletrial.com/MMO Reporter. And by Doghouse Systems. Choose your weapon with Doghouse Systems.
Don't forget about your ults you need to cherish. Each and every little character you've got, no matter what level they're at. Don't forget about your ults you need to cherish.
Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of MMO Reporter. This is episode 179. I'm Chris and I am joined as always by my favorite PvMPer of all time, Mr. Leonor Pantless himself. Hello, Leonor.
Hello, minions.
And of
It's kind
course,
of cool in here today. Ooh.
hopefully it's just the pants that are lacking. And of course, from just up the road, we have none other than at MMO Bill. Hi, Bill.
Hello.
And from
Yes, that's what I got.
from across the pond and the star of stage and screen, we have none other than Mr. Harry Hall. Yay!
If I find the guy who hacked my WildStar account, I'm going to go medieval on his ass.
Okay, and our listeners may be thinking that this is just being silly, but no.
No. And I will go medieval. I
No.
will flay him alive.
Are
you a boy or a girl?
did you hear
Well,
that?
when I'm through with you,
This is from last week, and Leonor just thought that you needed to hear this.
That's so
Are you a
perfect timing.
boy or a girl?
That was an ad that Leonor heard somewhere. Yeah. Anyways, back on track.
Yes.
Those crazy hacker motherfuckers gotta die, huh?
well, not die, just suffer pain until the end of their days.
Yeah. It's pretty darn horrible.
What I want to do is I want to sew some cacti into their scrotum on the inside.
God damn it! I was
gonna-
drinking, Harry.
I think it's instead of Harry Hall, I think we're gonna go with what do we go with? Ramsay Bolton. Are we gonna be Games of Thrones characters tonight?
Oh no! I
Yeah.
Actually, I think that
Leonor-
would be too mild a punishment for what they did to me. But okay, we'll get to that later. I'm sorry. I'm a tad miffed.
I can only imagine. And now, but hey, now you are the proud proprietor of a level 10 Orin.
Let's move on.
There's nothing wrong with Orin.
Is there a reason why they would
I
get
had
to level 10?
Sorry?
That seems like a lot of work for somebody who's obviously a raging dick. That seems like a lot of effort to complete your dick maneuver there. Is there something magical that happens at level 10 that allows you to be more of a dick than usual?
They might have just been teleport botting and getting resources. And so that would give them some exploration XP and stuff. Like that would get them some XP. So maybe they were doing that.
I had maxed out so much exploration stuff. I'm really the more I think about it, the more it actually starts to hurt.
What level were you?
I got I don't want to even think about that. I got an email while I was away from home from NCSoft stating, we have locked down your account for use of third-party things and cheating and botting and whatever. And I was like, what? I'm not even home. How can I do that? And I start to doubt because I'm in Amsterdam. I mean, you don't know. I mean,
Right.
so I emailed them and I said, this is not possible. Well, we'll sort it out. We'll sort it out. It takes forever. And finally, they sort
Little
it
pause.
out for me.
There you go.
Thanks, support guys. I think well, thank you. So I logged in just now just to see what the damage was because yesterday I got the all clear mail, and my character is gone, and instead there's this fucking bunny rabbit, level 10 with an all consonant name. Well, thank you.
It
This is
was
not fun. I mean, this is what you put time and effort and. I mean, I would if they create something and do stuff with it that's illegal. Okay, but why do you have to delete my character?
right.
Why?
That's just stupid.
It's
Yeah.
it's just the same what happened when somebody stole my car and blew it up. This is actually something that happened. I was
Oh.
awoken on a Sunday morning very early by the police asking me if I was indeed Harry Hall and if I was okay. And I said, yes, why? And they said, you know where your car is? I said, yes, it's right in front. He said, no. Somebody stole my Fiat and took it for a joyride, he said. I said, it's a Fiat. There is no joy in riding a Fiat. So they
Oh,
parked it
man.
somewhere and blew it up.
Oh,
It's the same feeling, actually.
some people just want to see the world burn.
I don't know.
Well,
it's
I'm one
kinda
of them now.
strange that it's at level 10 and there's money on it, especially one platinum on it. It doesn't make sense at all.
I think it was probably a porting hack.
I don't know.
I'm going to
Although
delete that
apparently-
character.
Okay, and Harry, I know I don't want to, sound like an asshole, but it's just natural for me. You got to get two-factor authentication. I've been using it since launch. I mean, there's bonuses in games, but I mean, this is something that, while it may have happened anyways with the two-factor authentication, it's not foolproof. It's much less likely that it could have happened, and you don't want to go through it again.
I thought they had this IP lock, which I got every time I logged in from a different location. They send me an email. Are you actually trying to log into your
They
account?
actually do not have IP whitelists. I just did an interview with Jeremy Gaffney, and it's something that they're looking at, but the two-factor authentication, because the IP whitelist will not stop.
Wait.
Yeah.
Sorry?
The they do not have IP whitelists, but what they're thinking about, they don't want to just rely on IP whitelists because they don't stop your brother coming onto your computer and wiping all your characters, or an angry spouse, or something like that. And so they want to keep pushing the two-factor authentication because it does lock it down to your smartphone, or WinAuth or something.
One dirty second.
Sorry, Bill, go ahead.
I'm sitting in here. I'm looking at my account management screen for WildStar, and there are 3 items sitting under the account security screen. One is password with the option to change it. Okay,
Yeah.
makes sense to me. 2 is two-step verification, the Google Authenticator app, which right on, I can choose to deactivate that if I want. And then the third thing is right in the middle, authorized locations. 2.
Exactly.
I think
So if that's not being used, why is it there? That stinks of just.
Wait, it is being used because I got an email when I was trying to log into my account from Amsterdam. I was obviously on a different IP address than at home, and I had to verify it via email that this was actually my login.
I think that might be for the account side of it, but I know I talked to Jeremy Gaffney just the other day, and he said that no, it's they don't currently have an IP whitelist.
That sucks because that actually
that's-
I know that Final Fantasy XIV, for example, uses this system. And there are several games that have this, that if you log in from a suspect IP address, they will lock you down. Anyway, enough security talk. People have hacked my WoW account, but never ever deleted characters or hurt me like this. Anyway, what did you do in game, Leonor?
I have been playing LOTRO, and Harry, you have missed it. 2 weeks ago, I did not play LOTRO.
I heard. I was actually, I was on my bike while I listened to that, and I was off it a second later. It was.
That's
It was,
fun.
it was shocking. It was absolutely flabbergasting. I don't know what. I'm speechless.
Literally.
This is me being without speech. That means that you can continue
You can
to
talk now, Leonor.
It's kind of weird. I played WildStar for so long, and then getting back into LOTRO, it's like you keep wanting the double jump.
Shift. I don't need to hit shift to run fast.
Yep. Yes. Yep. Exactly.
Oh yeah, I hate it when a game doesn't have that anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I got to play some WildStar. I've been checking out some of the plugins, hoping to do a video on that a little bit later on. I jumped into some old Final Fantasy XI again. I got to go through. It's like a main story dungeon, and I remember doing it years ago, but never I didn't remember the dungeon at all. But when I got to the end boss, I was like, oh yeah, I remember this. And my friend's like, oh, you remember that, but not the dungeon? This is gonna suck. So we had quite a battle there. And then I got into the Secret World for a while to do a new season of +1 Keyboard.
Cool.
We got to go through, oh geez, what's it called? The League of Monster Killers, which is a bunch of about a bunch of kids that have a clubhouse in the middle of the woods, and they go out and they kill monsters.
Oh, I thought it would be led by Bad Horse.
No, not Bad Horse.
Bad horse, bad horse, bad horse, bad horse.
The Thoroughbred of Sin. But yeah, we cover that storyline this time through, and it's very cool.
Awesome. That's one thing that the Secret World has in spades, and I was talking to somebody else about this in when I was streaming some WildStar, and they were talking that they've been playing some Secret World, and they were really into it, and they just like being in that world, right?
Yeah.
And the Secret World has that distinction where it does try to create a world, as does LOTRO, as does ESO, whereas yes, WildStar has a world, but first and foremost, it's a game. It's not a world to be experienced. Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah.
And I totally get that. And I'm okay with that because that's what I want in a game. So anyways.
I'm actually quite excited to try to step into Secret World. I bought it on the Steam sale, as I mentioned last week, and I think that's going to be a special family moment with my wife to go in and get freaked out by the Secret World.
Well, you can keep those private, those special family moments. You don't have to share everything on the podcast.
It's only you went there, Chris.
That's
Let
right.
me show me.
That makes me a little bit
pictures.
concerned.
I wasn't the only one. Thank you, Harry, for the back.
Family pictures.
Uh-huh.
Nudge, nudge, wink, wink.
Say no more. Say no more. Leonor, say no more and ask me what I did this week.
Um,
Aha! I almost got you. So this week, I hopped in. I played. I did play some WildStar, and around there, I'm almost level 17. I imagine Harry will have passed me again by next week, so that'll be good. Or pardon me, I am level 17. I'm almost level 18. So I actually did my first content jump in WildStar. I noticed I've been lagging behind further and further doing my regular completionist stuff. And all my quests were like gray and teal and horrible and ugly. I was doing like level 13 and 14 quests while I was just dinging level 17, and it was awful. So I skipped like half the zone ahead, and yeah, so I can't be a completionist in WildStar. I just can't do gray quests. It's driving me nuts. So
Are you
I
enjoying
also,
the game now? Because you weren't really.
It's not the best game I have installed on my computer right now. Let's just put it that way. I like it. It's okay. I'd give it a B if I had to give it a grade. Yeah. That said, I did convince my wife to start playing. So when she gets back from her holiday, we're gonna play WildStar, and I have a feeling this is gonna be a good one to run around in duo mode.
Yes.
Because I've been only popping into WildStar for like 20 minutes at a time, half an hour at a time, and that kind of thing, and I haven't really got into a good group other than like the occasional like world event or the occasional killed the big boss type quest, that kind of thing, like the 3+ quests and that kind of thing. So that's going to be a good thing to have a bit of a social aspect to it, even if the social aspect is just on the other side of the room with me. So I am looking forward to that. I did jump in and I played Guild Wars 2 because I wanted to see the new content. And I have not played a moment of the new content because I got distracted by running Discovery in the Straits of Malcor in Guild Wars 2. And, Guild Wars 2 is, I want to say it's the best MMO that's come out at least in the last 5 years, if not the best MMO of all time. It really, really is. I love Guild Wars 2 so much. Guild Wars 2 is my A+, WildStar is my B. They're both games. They're both good, but then WildStar, our Guild Wars 2, just jumps further ahead.
Not my turn. I'm not going to say anything.
No, it's indeed not your turn because Bill wasn't finished yet, I think.
Bill is not finished yet. I also jumped in and I played Guns of Icarus with the MMO Reporter crew.
God.
And Chris is laughing his face off because holy cow. Interesting game, very neat concept. Basically you're running, it's a 4-person crew running an airship. Where you've got different roles. You've got a captain who does the actual piloting. You've got engineers who do repairs, and you have gunners to, believe it or not, gun. And it was actually fun, but holy cow, there's some interesting people on the internet.
Leonor.
Yeah, Leonor was one of them too. He wasn't the worst one. I'll give him credit for that. But holy cow, I'm too used to like really pleasant MMO communities because this was just a little bit of a system shock for me. I there was a lot of I learned some new swears, I think, actually. I am not
okay.
I am not a young man. I have been exposed to many blue conversations. I don't expect to learn new swears very often in life, but I did in Guns of Icarus.
I have to say this. There was another ship for our last couple of battles that was called, the ship name was called Gangbang Young Men. That was also,
yes.
there was another ship for the battles before that was, I'll spell it first. It was PHA space, what was it, like QU?
YUE?
I thought it was KUA.
KU or something. So it was Fa-Ku, right? So that was one bit. But then Leonor
I'm
with
not
that.
so sure you should pronounce it that way, actually.
Anyways, the other ship name, Leonor starts trolling them in the chat. With it was just the most wrong thing I think I've ever seen. Oh man! But we'll have a video up. I think Leonor is working on something for that. We've got this Twitch highlight on our Twitch page. But
is the game worth it?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
For 4 people all together, it was and it would have been even better drunk.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, it was.
Yep.
It was lots of fun. It's a very neat game. It's not a Twitch thing. Like it's not the person with the fastest finger that wins. That takes some strategy and positioning and everything like that. You have to have a good pilot, but you also have to have an accurate gunner, and you have to have engineers that are paying attention. It's a very team game, but it was good. I would happily play it again.
Yeah.
Two things real quick about that game. The combat is pretty much all done, and that's what people are playing on Steam right now, is basically the ship combat. They are adding in a solo story mode later on.
Yeah.
So that's going to be added on at some point.
For those
free.
of you who don't know, we never described it. It's basically big boats held up by hot
Zeppelins.
air balloons
Zeppelins.
and fighting in the
Airships.
air.
Yep.
Zeppelins.
No, but it's not just zeppelins. It is literally, you would think they would float in water, and a lot of ropes, and then a big balloon.
Sky
So there's
naval
no-
battle.
It's not. There's no
It's totally 3D.
3D battle. It's not-
Totally 3D. Up, down, throttle, and yeah, it was, and fog.
Sorry, I'm
Yeah,
getting a little
there's
lost.
fog. There's the terrain. There's mountains and other structures you have to avoid. There was
Or
one map
fly
that we
through,
played.
thank you.
There was one map that was actually played in a desert, and if you pilot your ship through the sandstorm that's blowing through the desert, it actually damages all your guns and engines. Chris, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that game was a lot of work.
How did you find that out?
The
Hard
way.
experience. Hard experience, Harry.
So, anyway, Guns
You were the-
Vicarous, definitely worth checking out if you're so inspired, especially if you're taking part in the Steam sale or if you're able to catch it on a Steam sale.
Or
Harry,
Wait,
what kind of
even
good stuff
hold
have
on,
you
hold
got
on.
into
Even
this
at
week?
full price, Bill, if you've got three friends, you and three friends that want to play, it's like Left 4 Dead 2. It is infinitely better done as a group.
Thank you for completely destroying my SIG.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
Harry, what
Great
did you
game
do
to
this
get
week?
on a Steam sale. Harry, what have you done this week?
Harry, what did you do this week?
Harry, what'd you do this week?
Well, what I'm sensing you're wondering what I did this week.
Very perceptive. Only a sharp tack like you could have picked that up, I think.
Nothing gets by me. Anyway, I'm like Krul. It's the keeper from the Dutch team. Never mind. Okay, I didn't play all that much because I was A, busy with deadlines, and B, not really at home because I had to houseboat sit a friend of ours, and we were in the middle of Amsterdam, which is fantastic, but no solid internet connection, which is odd because Amsterdam is... But just the guy who we were house sitting for didn't have internet. I mean, I know, right? I mean, 21st century. Hello?
Yeah.
So the thing is, I went over to a friend of mine he lives near Amsterdam, and we did our Thursday night recording for the Dutch podcast I'm in, and I was so close. He said, "Oh, come on over to my house. We'll record over there," which was a lot of fun. And thanks, boss, was a lot of fun. And he has obviously internet, and I was there with my iPhone, and I said, "Can I use your Wi-Fi?" I said, "Yes, sure." And I was looking at my podcast catcher, and he's updating all 16, 17 queued episodes. And I was like, "Oh, yes. Oh, God, yes. Yes, keep going."
I'm not going to go there.
Sorry. Yeah, well, we made a deal that I wouldn't discuss what happened. Never mind. So I did participate in the Steam sale before I left, and actually during my absence as well, because the iPhone app is awesome. You can buy
No,
anything
it's not
on
awesome. It's
Steam.
horrible. Horrible. It's a horrible, horrible thing.
It's a horrible, awesome thing. It's like heroin. I mean, you don't want it, but
You would.
Can't stop.
I'm pretty sure most people would agree with you on that.
it's. I actually showed some restraint because previous Steam sales, if it was under $1, I bought it. If it was under $5, I bought it. Hell, if it was on sale, I bought it. And that yielded me gems like the Wizardry Collection, a hardcore 50-hour permadeath JRPG that I'm never ever going to play, let alone install. But I got all three of them, yay. So I have this list of... Well, it was on sale. What else was I going to do? So I
There's no
spent
other
a
way
little
around
bit
it.
more this time than I usually spend because I got the Since the Solar Empire Rebellion deal for, I think, 7-8 euros, which isn't... I really wanted to play that. I love the original.
Game is nice.
It's a real-time strategy 4X game. So it combines the 3D RTS action of Homeworld with the exploration and colonization and of galactic civilizations or civilization. So that's a lot of fun. It's very complex.
Awesome.
Awesome. Yeah, really good. But Endless Space, which is a turn-based 4X game, I like 4X games. I bought Dishonored because I heard so many good things about it, and it was only €3.74, which is nothing.
Yeah,
Except
it's really
it
good.
was, yeah, and I've heard you gushing on about it, and you actually going out of your way to kill everybody in the game.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really need to check that out once I'm done playing Assassin's Creed 2, which is not on my list, but which I actually am playing. I tried to play the first one and finish it because it was there and it was actually boring. Friends of mine said, you should play AC2. So I did, and it's freaking awesome. My weekly Civilization 5, I'm playing with 2 friends, and we are playing every Sunday night, multiplayer session, and we're on our 3rd game now.
That's the cheating one,
and,
right?
Let me put it this way. I had an interesting experience and learned something about myself. The first 2 games, I was actually pretty bad at it. I tried to declare war every other turn and then apologized profusely the turn after that, which is not a strategy that yields you a high rank. So the 3rd game, I decided I will be peaceful and I'll suggest a new strategy. Let the Wookiee win. No, I'll just try to get to a different place in the game than I was before. But those 2 friends of mine now don't trust me anymore. And that's really frustrating because I'm actually playing a peaceful game, trying to trade and get open borders and expand my empire on another track than the military track. And they just don't believe anything I say. And then something happened. There is this United Nations system, and there are city-states that are played by the computer, and you can ally yourself with them. And if you do that, and if a city-state is your ally, you get an extra vote in the United Nations thing. And if you can propose something, and if you have enough votes, then the proposition goes through. And it can be anything that the game allows. For example, you can propose a bonus on research, or a tax on armies, or an embargo on another player that nobody can trade with them. And if there are enough votes for that, it will actually lock them down. In the previous game, my 2 friends actually used that technique to blackmail me into behaving. They say, if you are going to attack another time, we're going to propose an embargo and vote for it. In this round, I didn't even notice it. But all of a sudden, my friend Erwin says, hey, Harry, you got all the city-states allied to yourself. And I was looking at the screen, and I had an absolute majority in the United Nations for everything. And that meant that any proposition I would propose would go through. I discovered at that moment that I had absolute power in the United Nations. And even though I intended to be a very peaceful and composed person, all of a sudden I realized I was laughing maniacally. I was cackling like a bad Saturday morning. And all the delicate lines of trust that I built over 4 hours of playing just melted away. Because there was just no doubt in their minds that I was evil. I didn't abuse it. I just cackled. And that was a mistake. And that made me realize why I always lose at poker. Okay, that was story time. Next time, Chris, I'm curious. You play more games than any of us combined. And your list is growing by the week. And I'm very curious what epic, transcendent experience you have to offer in your game playing extravaganza this week.
I played WildStar.
Yeah.
Then
again.
I played some more WildStar. And some more WildStar. I did sneak in like a couple minutes of Diablo 3, and obviously that night with Guns of Icarus, but I played WildStar.
It's an exquisite medley, Chris. You're an inspiration to all the palette gamers out there.
I'm getting my Genesis key this week, though, and then I can get it tuned.
Even Leonor plays more games than you.
Yeah, but it's WildStar, and WildStar is good. Yeah. WildStars. This is the first game I think that where every day I've done my dailies. Like WoW and Rift that has sort of the daily system, and WildStar.
Guild Wars 2 has a great daily system.
WildStar.
The nice thing with Guild Wars 2s is that it's very achievable.
But Guild Wars 2
But Guild Wars 2 is a B. WildStar is an A+.
Oh, you're
Actually,
wrong.
I scored.
This is not a democracy. Thank you very much.
No, that's
Absolutely
indeed. I'm a
WildStar
professional
is
reviewer.
an A+, and Guild Wars 2 is a B.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm going
No, wait.
to-
Guild Wars 2 is an A, but
Okay.
WildStar is an A+.
NCSoft actually uses both the review of WildStar and of Guild Wars 2 in their PR. So I have some sway. And Guild Wars 2 is a 10 and WildStar is a 9. I
WildStar
have
is a 10
decided.
for you, or Guild Wars 2 is a 10 for you and a 9 for you, but WildStar is a 10 for me. Guild Wars 2, I just can't get into that. Okay, I've hit level 80, and what do I like? No, it's just not. And that's the thing. Reviews
can't be wrong.
are subjective.
No,
and
no,
they
no,
are
no, no,
not. They are not the end all be all and for everyone. And that's
Yes, they are. they are an absolute. They are a measurable, empirical, factual thing.
They are bored.
It is the truth. It is fact. It is truth and fact.
Well, okay. This, I now understand who's training all those trolls on review comments. They come through the Harry Hall school of commenting.
I'm so glad you didn't say the Harry Hall School of Journalism, because that would really be scary. Anyway, no, it's okay. Sorry, you are absolutely right to be
for
wrong.
me is the perfect game right now. It does everything that I want it to do, and it does it exceptionally well. Guild Wars 2 is a fantastic game. It does not do everything that I want it to do, but what it does do, it does exceptionally well. How's that?
I couldn't agree more. That's why I gave it a 9 out of 10. It's a fantastic, fantastic MMO.
Yeah. Yeah, where we don't need to talk about ESO, though. But yeah, I did get the Crusader for Diablo 3.
Let's talk
And
about ESO.
Bill, why do we need to do that? You know what?
Oh, may I say one thing? I want to say one thing about ESO.
You may.
Because
you may.
I reviewed it and I gave it a 6 out of 10. I still stand by it, and I got a lot of crap for that from commenters in the review. Over 50 comments complaining that I didn't know what I was talking about. We're fast forward a few weeks, and I'm doing the WildStar review and scoring it a 9 out of 10. And half of the comments under the review is, yeah, this is really a good game. And that terrible ESO, I was bored with it after 3-4 weeks.
Yeah.
The same people who vehemently were attacking me, which is so good. It's so good.
Yeah. So, okay. So, Leonor linked me a review today because, for a while I've been really struggling to put to words what ESO got wrong, because I see so much. Like, you don't play the game isn't you don't jump in a game and it's not broken every time you play it. You don't go in and have no idea what to do. It's not like you go in and it's horrible. But Leonor linked to me a review, and I think the start of it is absolutely perfect here. So I'm just going to play it for all of you, and you can agree with me wholeheartedly about this.
You done it up.
So that is the start of the Angry Joe review for Elder
Oh, I
Scrolls
saw
Online.
that.
And you know what? In so many ways, that's just kind of right. It has no heart. It has no soul. It doesn't connect for me. And
Actually, after I wrote my review, I got a lot of crap. And contrary to some people thinking, I do care what people think. I mean, it's if you're writing a review and everybody's angry with you, even though my opinion doesn't change, I don't like that, because I'm not there to piss people off. I'm there to write about games and hopefully give people a good. So it kind of hurt me that everybody seemed to be against me, and I was like under my bed, hiding, crying, holding my security blanket. And then I saw the Angry Joe review after my review, because I always go blank for reviews when I'm doing a game. And I saw this and I was like, yes, Yes.
Yeah, he
So-
breaks that game down step by step.
And the same points I made, and I'm not saying because he just says the same thing. It just it sometimes it's good to be validated if you're going, if you're crucified like that. Never mind. This is gone. You have a lot of games to talk about, Chris. I'm sure.
No, I'm
Oh wait, you didn't.
not pretty much played. I did go with 70 of my closest friends and take down Scorchwing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun.
Uh-huh.
It was a world boss. It was crazy. I got DC'd in the middle of it. Yeah.
Actually,
But
that's cool. 70 people in World Boss.
yeah, that was
Closest
really
friends?
really cool.
But that's Guild Wars 2 level of open world interaction.
No better. But anyways,
I was trying to pay the freaking game a compliment. Just
was-
take it away with it.
it was no, it was really really cool. It actually reminded me of waiting because we were a couple minutes early for the fight, and it's on a timer, right? And it reminded me of waiting for the Tequatl fight. But I beat this one. I've never beaten Tequatl ever. I'm pathetic.
That's a hard dragon. Yeah.
That dragon won't go down. Anyways, I think it's time for us to move along to the news.
I have a LOTRO story to talk about. In the forums a couple days ago, the community manager, Sapiens, talked about Lord of the Rings Online and how the rating numbers were very low for players who wanted to raid.
Sorry,
He
what
says
number?
the rating numbers.
God, I honestly thought you said raping numbers. Please continue.
Move
it's a
along,
different game.
please.
Raiders comprise the smallest but by far group in our game. PvMP, which is the PvP, players are far larger and even they are small. In fact, together the two groups won't comprise 10% of the total player base and never have. This is important. It's not a new thing. It's a long-standing historical fact. He also says, I've said our data goes back 8 years, and the percentage of the raiders hasn't changed in that time. Maybe 1% up or down at any given range of dates. The false claims is at a percentage of the player base significant larger at some point in the past. It wasn't. It was just fairly consistent. So basically, he is saying that after 8 years, the player base, the rating base, and the PvP base have been this low the entire time, less than 10%. Chris and Bill, you guys are from LOTRO Reporter, and you guys were reporting during these years. Do you guys feel that LOTRO's rating community was so low during that time? I mean, this seems just crazy. I can't see any game 8 years ago having such a low rating player base, especially with like games like World of Warcraft, where it was heavily a game heavily rated, and EverQuest, where a lot of people from EverQuest came over to this game. What do you guys think?
Bill, you go first.
You skip me, but I have something to add after Bill and Chris.
Bill?
Do you want? Okay, I'm going to go here. I'm not surprised at all. LOTRO's rating was never really that good. Like compared to other MMOs out there, anything like that. LOTRO did small group play very well. Their quest system was always really good. I actually have liked the kind of the storytelling that the LOTRO questing system has done. Probably better than any other game I've played, but rating just never felt like a real strong point in LOTRO. So, yeah, I mean, if you wanted to be a raider, there were lots of other games to play. And I don't think. Reading the quotes here, I got the vibe that they were trying to say that there weren't many raiders in LOTRO because people don't like to raid. I don't think that's the case at all. I just don't think raiding is a strong suit for LOTRO.
Yeah, I agree completely. I think that the fellowship or small fellowship and stuff is a much stronger part and a much more consistent part of what LOTRO players do. The majority, by far, of LOTRO players have always been about the world and about wanting to inhabit and experience and traverse Tolkien's Middle-earth. And so the fact that not many players wanted to go into many times very contrived fights just to get that experience, the game just wasn't built for that. Even at its launch, it was never its highlights. So, I'm not surprised at that at all. Harry, you had something to add too.
Well, back in the day when Jeffrey Stiefel was still on board, I interviewed him for the launch of Mines of Moria. And he talked about raiding then. And we're talking about 2008, I think. Please correct me if I'm wrong. And he said, actually, when they were conceiving LOTRO, they didn't want to do any raids. They didn't think LOTRO was going to be a raiding game. They never intended it to be a raiding game, and it never became that. So from the start on, from the early designs on, raiding was never a high priority for them. And that's why I believe that the numbers, because it never was a raiding game. I must say that the raids that are in there, I think they were run pretty regularly. I mean, the Dragon run is done still consistently, and I think the Rift was one of the things that most guilds, most kinships ran on a weekly basis. So I wouldn't say nobody raided. I'm just not saying. I think it's not. I think it was something to do and not a goal in and of itself, as it is in World of Warcraft.
Right, but this is okay, he didn't give specific numbers, but if PvMP, we have to do some inferences here. He gave us some facts. PvMP players are far larger. So let's say 3 times as big. I think, that's okay. So let's say that just to make it easier, let's say that 2% of the players are raiders, 8% are PvMPers. That gives you your 10% that he talked about. That seems like a reasonable number, just for the math's sake. And he says this has been consistent. So even in your memories, Harry, it was still 2%, maybe going up or down a percentage at most that were raiding. And I don't think that means have ever been in a raid, because I've been in a raid. I've not.
No, but that's what I'm saying. I'm saying it was never the focus, and I think people did it. But I'm not. I think I agree with him that there isn't a raiding community,
right,
like there is in World of Warcraft or in EverQuest, and there never has been. So I'm not surprised about this at all, because LOTRO was never about that. And I vote that this episode should be called Raiders of the Lost Orc.
Agreed. Done.
I'll write it down.
It's already done. All right. And now the 8-year quota link that you've got here.
Oh, that was just a quote for the bottom bullet point here, just to make sure that you guys would see it.
I thought quota was what you were trying to say.
Quota.
Okay.
This forum post was basically he posted in this forum post because people were complaining that there are no raids in sight on the roadmap for adding more raids into the game at this point, and that's why he ended up commenting on it.
Yeah, and I like his approach here. Somebody was calling him on the fact, saying, I don't believe this is the numbers, and he said pretty straightforward, as I said, believe whatever you wish. I give you the facts. I'm already way outside of what we normally share, believe it or not. If you choose not to, then there is no point in continuing the discussion, because it just means you aren't actually interested in facts and honesty, just rhetoric. I totally get where you're coming from, but there it is. I like Rick.
Yeah.
This is it. You don't like it, we're done.
But that's something that foreign people usually don't want to understand, that not every issue has two sides. Sometimes things are the way they are.
Oh, yeah. I'm going through something like that right now with my work.
You know what has a lot of sides? A big space house. Isn't that right, Chris?
That is correct. We're going to move on now to talk about a new video that's been posted. Oh, sorry, Harry, you had something to add?
Oh, I love the natural way that sentence came out of Leonard's mouth. so flowing and natural, and didn't call attention to itself at all in its delivery.
No. So we are going to talk about the newest video that's come out for Galactic Strongholds, the new SWTOR update that's coming out that is going to include housing. That's right, they're bringing housing to Star Wars The Old Republic. And I have to say, with Star Wars The Old Republic and the things that they have gone through and the troubles that they've had with their game, I was looking forward to something that absolutely blew me away, that was amazing, that made me ecstatic for the game, because I do think there are so many good things about the game that it just needs something that is amazing. And when I played the Galactic Starfighter, I was underwhelmed. I had fun, but it just, I grew bored of it. So I'm looking forward to this Galactic Stronghold, hoping for something that is amazing, housing done right. And it's not. It's housing done the way we've seen it done a million times with a Star Wars flavor.
Boring. But boring.
And yeah, and it's like, okay, but SWTOR, you got to do more than just put a Star Wars skin on everything that's already been done and call it new and amazing. Like, you can't do that, BioWare. You have to have some innovations. And, you know, you look at what they're offering with Stronghold, right? You're going to customize them. You're going to be able to live on multiple planets. Okay, so you're going to be able to have a couple different houses. You can get a guild flagship, which is a guild house in space, which is just really a different location, right? They did that sort of stuff in Star Wars Galaxies. We had a guild house. So I mean, there's things like you'll be able to compete with other guilds by completing quests to control planets for perks, glory, or bragging rights. It's just
and the house and the shows on Tatooine. I mean, can you imagine it in the movies? It is supposed to be the most boring, desolate, soul-crushing place ever. That's how it is written,
right.
Because that's the journey that Luke makes from, oh my God, I'm just a farm boy on a desert, to, oh my God, I'm the hero of the galaxy. So placing the first housing, what's the ugliest, most boring place in North America? Tell me.
I don't know. Ottawa?
I don't know either.
Ottawa?
Sorry?
Ottawa?
Okay, let's say Ottawa. I've never been there. Ottawanians. I'm not. It's Chris who says that. I mean, that's not where you start your housing plot for a fantasy game.
No.
Then you go to something sparklingly impressive. Not the ass end of the galaxy.
Right.
Which is not Ottawa. It's Tatooine. I'm not. God, I'm never going to go to Ottawa.
Yeah,
No.
you
Somebody's
totally
gonna kill
dropped
me.
the ball.
You're done. But Bill, I mean, Harry's piped out. It's another disappointment coming from BioWare.
Yeah, it's another C+ effort. I mean, the only thing that BioWare's done really well with Star Wars Galaxies has been essentially the single player game that they put into Star Wars Galaxies. Everything else has been just recycled, did the same thing as other games except not quite as good, and that's what you get. So they're
I'm
I don't know what to
disappointed.
say. It's
What I want them to come out with something that is absolutely new. Come out with something that we haven't seen before, right? Or polish something to the point where it is so good that everyone thinks you started it. Look at like telegraphs in WildStar. Those have been in games before, that idea, but WildStar made it so seamless that it seems like they innovated it. Look at the questing paths in WoW. WoW was
Look at
not
the
the first
event system
MMO.
look at the event system in Guild Wars 2.
Right.
I mean, they ripped it off wholesale from Warhammer. But exactly your point. Take something and give it your own unique spin and twist.
And instead, it's just putting a new skin on it. So,
The good thing is with the new movies coming out, there's probably going to get there's going to be a new amount of attention being paid to the franchise, and maybe we will see a good MMO out of the Star Wars universe.
There is, and the reason I've gone back several times, and I think the reason I feel so disappointed every time is because I have a really good tug to that core of the game that I feel could be something amazing, and I think I'm just disappointed every time that they put something out that it's not, because I want it to be amazing. I want it to come out, come from the ashes of its free-to-play transition and be the game you have to play. Mm-hmm. And it's not, and it makes me sad.
Well, the thing, and this is the same mistake that the Elder Scrolls Online made, the foundation is fundamentally flawed. It's as Bill said, it's the single-player game. And that's the same problem they had with the Elder Scrolls Online. They never designed this from the start as a social experience.
Right. Everything down to the quests being a pain if you're grouped.
Exactly.
Dungeons are good, but anything open world is just crap. So, anyways. All right.
But, yeah.
Harry, there's another bit of disappointment for spacefaring fans.
Yeah, and I think this was one of the features that I was looking forward most when they announced the game, but I've never actually been able to enjoy them or find them, which is ironic for an exploration thing. They are removing the exploration clusters from Star Trek Online.
Harry, what were exploration clusters?
Well, they were basically bits of space that generated random planets and stars that you could find and see stuff in that nobody else would see.
Cool. So it was like your 5-year mission to explore.
Yeah, but that would have been the game for me. But apparently nobody found it or it didn't work, and they're now taking it out. And I am sorry to hear that they are not trying to fix what would be the most fundamental selling point of a Star Trek game, which is exploration, but just taking it out and going back to being WoW with warp drives.
Oh, Star Trek Online is not WoW with warp drives.
No, that is an insult to WoW.
No, Star Wars: The Old Republic is WoW with hyperdrives, but Star Trek Online is a different enough
it's
game.
Champions Online. You're right.
Kinda, yeah. Okay. Except the ship combat is fun. I like it so much every time. That's all I do when I go back to Star Trek Online. I just fight in space. And I get my Galaxy class starship with the separating saucer.
The problem is that the heart of Star Trek is exploring and boldly going where no man has gone before. I mean, I do not have to explain this. And for me, it's just, aside from the fact that still, if you are on the bridge of your starship and you go back to your space view, you still beam off the bridge after all those years. Yeah. Where do you beam to? Never mind. But it's the same fundamental flaw as some of the Lego games have, that you don't actually build.
Yeah. But keep going.
Space, the final frontier.
Not yet.
These are the... Please don't do this.
I'm not doing anything. Here it goes, right now.
Space, the final frontier.
Goosebumps every time.
These are the voyages of the Starship Enterprise.
There's my Galaxy class.
Its continuing mission to explore strange new worlds.
There it is. There's my baby.
To seek out new life and new
Here
civilizations.
Goes. Are you ready? Oh, I love this part.
To boldly go where no one has gone before.
Love that theme. Okay. You keep talking here. I'm just going to put this quietly in the background.
Well, no, it's. I know. I mean, in the basics, Star Trek has always been an anthology show with social commentary. But for the nerd inside all of us, it was about
Pew, pew.
sitting in a big. It's not about pew pew. Star Trek is not about pew pew. It's about sitting down and talking to alien races and discovering things and making love to green women. That is Star Trek.
It's about space detectives.
It's about holodecks that always malfunction.
Oh, wait.
Interesting ways.
Apparently, in the future, Microsoft runs the holodeck development program. And the blue screen of death really is a blue screen of death.
Of death.
Okay.
Oh, man. All right, we need to get on from this because, yeah.
Bill.
Speaking of
Bill
pew pew,
Shatner. Canadian.
Yeah, exactly. This is pew pew. Speaking of games with just one redeeming feature, Swordsman Open
Speaking of
Beta
games.
has started.
whoa, we're getting a little harsh here.
Well, I don't know. Okay, so we got an open beta for Swordsman. This is an Americanization of a game that's apparently widely popular over in China. Over 80 million players reported in their little marketing video. And it's available to register for beta now. The only thing that's really jumps out at me is this is just like the shiniest game I've ever seen. And I'm not really using that so much as a compliment as just a statement of fact. Everything glows and shines and explodes and gleams and it. Anyway. So yes, I'm totally judging the game based on the few minutes of game footage because I haven't played yet, but it's what I do, you know. I make completely unfounded and wildly nasty judgments on stuff that I've never actually experienced because I'm just that guy. Anyway, Swordsman Open Beta, check it out.
Yeah, it's got a kind of it reminds me of sort of the aesthetic style of Arcage, in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's that sort of Asian influence coming through, and not just the
You just hate Asians. That's
no,
just your
it's the shape. I love this aesthetic actually. I love this aesthetic.
What's the name of the Bethesda martial arts game that was based on the
Age of Wushu?
Street Fighter.
No. It was based off of Knights of the Old Republic, the single-player games.
Oh, you mean
Jade Empire.
Jade Empire.
I was
Reminds
going
me
to
a
say
lot of
Star
that.
Wars: The Old Republic.
Jade Empire was a good Star Wars game. Too bad they put a weird Chinese skin on it. There was an actual Darth Vader character with a Darth Vader helmet.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was really terrible.
Huh.
It was a fun
Funny.
game, but it was badly written.
Yeah, I think this is going to fill a niche that's not very, very well filled right now for a very, Asian culture, heavy melee, semi-fantasy type of game. This is not, you don't get your first flying dragon at level 1 or anything.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I have some hopes that this could find its niche. It's definitely going to be a niche product, in my opinion, but definitely worth checking out if you are interested.
In North America, for sure. It does. I shouldn't be as snarky as I was. It does look interesting. It looks like it's worth a try.
Yes, I agree wholeheartedly. All right, last bit here is basically what we talked about at the opening of the show. Perry's been banned because Carbine Studios, the makers of WildStar, have banned about 7,300 accounts in the last week or so now, probably a little bit more. Actually talked about this in the interview with Jeremy Gaffney. You can check it out on our YouTube page or MMOReporter.com. About 50 to 70% of those accounts are compromised. Regular players who have, for whatever reason, had their accounts hacked. He says that players who have reused account names and passwords from other stuff on the internet, games, email, etc., and thus vulnerable to hacking, please do use two-factor authentication if possible. So, and he says, this is Jeremy Gaffney made this post, "We acknowledge it sucks when you see obvious cheaters. And we're working on eliminating them. I've heard a rumor, no confirmation yet, that they've actually added invisible, infinite crap nodes in the high-level zones that basically get you nothing, but keep a bot going to that. Because what happens is, for however they're doing it, they teleport from node to node of mining resources or whatever other resources, and then gather it and teleport literally to the other location.
It's like a bug zapper.
Kind of, yeah.
That's awesome. So it just lures them in and
Right.
keeps them in an infinite
Right,
loop, and then they can
exactly.
be scooped up.
And that's a rumor I've heard. I don't know if that's actually been done, but that's a great idea.
I want it to be true.
I do too.
So
So
that's brilliant.
yeah, hopefully they're able to help Harry, which I think hopefully we'll get an update next week, Harry, from you about whether or not they've been able to roll back your account and reinitialize your character.
I have already sent a request for that, and I'll report back next week.
Yeah, good luck with
And
that.
if they can, they can't. I mean, maybe there are technical limitations.
Right. Yeah. Who knows? But I do have to say, and this is not meant just for you, Harry, but yeah, use the two-factor authentication. It is not the best version of two-factor authentication that I've seen. You actually have to click on the numbers. You can't use your numpad or anything like that. So it's a little bit annoying to do that. But I think the little bit annoying is worth not having the anger that spewed from Harry's mouth at the start of the show. And
I've just
hear that.
I've added my my authenticator because indeed.
So not only that, though, but you get a plus 2% experience boost for leveling. If you have your authenticator, you get a title so that you can prove to your guild, because a lot of guilds require two-factor authentication to have access to the guild bank. So you can have this title that you lose if you deactivate the authenticator, and then you get it back again. So your guild can check that. So I think it's worthwhile.
You are not bored at all, are you?
No, it's just really, I've had a really, really long day. I apologize for that.
No, it's okay. We'll get to the end soon.
Any other comments on this, guys? I mean, it's a pretty big deal. One of our own was hacked, so I mean that sucks.
Well, it's a numbers game. I'm still curious about how to do this because I'm actually pretty careful with what websites I go to. I always use a double virus protection firewall. I scan my system regularly, so I'm pretty sure I don't have any malware on it. I'd never install illegal software. I pay for everything I use.
Yep.
This is actually true. I mean, I'm not being trying to be
not at all.
goody two shoe. I discovered the joy of paying for stuff when I was able to do that when I got a job and everything, and I never go back to illegal software.
Yep.
Partly for this crap, but partly because I think designers deserve their, except Microsoft. Screw them.
Any other comments,
Don't
Leonor,
copy.
Harry? Or
Don't
Leonor,
copy
Bill?
that floppy.
Don't copy that floppy.
It's growing pains. I think every new game fights this battle right off the bat. It'll be interesting to see what kind of systems. I mean, maybe this is where we see a little bit of innovation is what in ways that we can reduce that kind of thing. Like the benefits they've put in for two-factor authentication are actually pretty significant. So it's a pretty easy thing to do now. I mean, the authentication app is on every platform you can imagine. I think you could even get it as just a Chrome app too, can't you?
Winoff, it's called.
Yeah. So
I'll try to get a link in the show notes for those who are interested in that.
If you have a computer, you can do two-factor authentication. So I mean, I feel terrible for the people whose accounts become compromised, Harry especially. But it could wind up being a good thing if Carbine really stays on top of it and maybe comes up with a new way to combat it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're working on IP whitelisting as well, and they're working on a couple different things. Jeremy Gaffney did talk about this, but I think the two-factor authentication is just the easiest at this point.
And don't buy gold, because the people who do this to sell gold.
Exactly.
And
they make the money, then they sell the gold.
and
I
don't
get
think
those
that there
messages
is
all over.
there is this romantic view with some people still romantic, and I say this quite wrongly, that there are people in China or in Southeast Asia working in these sweatshops producing gold by playing the game. This is a myth. Gold sellers hack accounts and sell the gold from players like you.
Yep.
Don't buy gold.
It used to be that they would have sweatshops at the start of WoW was probably the biggest one when they had so many numbers, but then technology made those obsolete, right? They'd have to pay those sweatshop workers. Now they just get computers that can run 24 hours a day botting.
It's much easier, and it's even easier to let the players do this stuff and just steal their stuff.
Yeah.
Don't buy gold.
Yeah, 100%. And they're undercut even with the cred market where you can use real world money to get in-game plat. They're undercutting that, right? I think it's $20 right now for about 5 plat. Right near launch, cred was only 3 plat in game, which is ridiculous because you could get 3 plat. You could get that in a really great day's grinding, a couple days grinding for slower people. Now 5 plat, I mean, that's a bit more. That's like a week of good grinding just to get the money for cred. And you can get that. I know some guild mates who have bought enough cred using in-game money for like 6 months, 8 months worth of subscriptions. So they're set. But what it is right now, it's $20, and they're undercutting that. So $20 real world money to get that 3 plats. They're doing like $20 for like a 50 plat. So
Obviously, when I say don't buy gold, please buy gold from the normal market. There's nothing wrong with
if
that.
you want to buy cred, if you want to spend real world
Yeah.
money and buy cred and then go in that way, go for it. Absolutely.
Have a blast. Buy the stuff you want and support your game.
Yeah. All right. A couple things that we want to mention. First of all, we mentioned this last week, but our Patreon campaign is up and running. We currently have 7 patrons, thanks to all of you. We'll be talking about that a little bit later. But we're basically trying to get away from having sponsors and get away from having ads so that we can run. You remember we used to have 2 ads per show and 3 ads, I think we had at one point. And we just want to we've kind of moved away a couple of months to this style that we have right now where we just have our coupon codes kind of at the end, and we really like how that flow is going. So we want to stay that way, but we need your help to be able to do it. So you can go to patreon.com/MMO Reporter and you can choose the different pledge amounts. We have a few different amounts here that you can go. As well, with those pledge amounts, there's some different rewards, the different ways in which we can thank you. For example, if you pledge $25 a month, you can get a whole bunch of different things, but the biggest one for that is a random piece of swag from the MMO Reporter closet. And we load up every time we go to PAX. So we have a whole bunch of swag that we'd love to give away from you, everything from T-shirts to pins to sometimes game codes and all sorts of stuff. So we'll get some stuff from in there for you. We have a few different goals. The biggest one is to keep it ad-free. And we've sort of been doing this for the last little while, but to do ad-free across the entire network, that is our main goal. We'd love to have you help us reach that goal. What are we going to do with those funds? It's pretty straightforward. Pay for the costs of running the network. I'd also really love to be able to pay all the podcasters that spend so much time making all this great content on the network. I'd really like to pay them, and I can do that with your help. We've got a few other goals that we've got in mind if you decide to go crazy and have a lot of you support us. But if everybody who listens to the podcast pledged $1 a month, just $1 a month, we would blow through all of our goals that we have posted now and blow through all of the stretch goals that we're sort of keeping on the back burner easily, if just $1 per person who downloads the podcast. So please check it out, patreon.com/MMO Reporter. Support the network and help us keep making the great content that you enjoy. There we go. Silence. Cricket.
Well, no, it's an impressive speech, and I'm not going to sully it by making a tits remark or something like that.
Well, thank you. Oh, Well, no thank you, Leonor. We are going to do things, though. We want to keep things like our coupon codes where you get a deal, but it's not going to be a big ad. So we're going to mention our coupon code at Doghouse Systems, MMOReporter.com. You can double your RAM by using that code. Doghouse is where I'm going to be getting my next PC. That is absolutely guaranteed. I absolutely love them, love the company, love the people. And from what I hear from Carrie and from other people, they make some pretty damn fine computers. So Doghouse is where I'm going to go for my next computer. You should check them out. And of course, audibletrial.com/MMO Reporter. Check out Audible audiobooks, and you go to that URL and you can get your first month free, which means you get one audiobook for free, and you get to keep it forever. Bill, people want to contact us. How can they do that?
There are many ways. You can head to MMOReporter.com to find the central hub of the MMO Reporter network for all of the sibling podcasts, as well as all back episodes of MMO Reporter and all kinds of good stuff there. You can send an email to mmo.reporter@gmail.com. You can find us on Facebook, facebook.com/MMO Reporter. You can find any of us, and I mean all four of us, because all four of us are actually here tonight, and we are just waiting for your tweets. You can follow MMO_reporter to get Chris. You can follow at Harry Hall for Harry Hall. You can follow at Leonor for Leonor, and you can follow at MMO Bill for yours truly. Give us a call at 616-666-6778 and leave us a voicemail, or on MMOReporter.com, click on the widget on the right side of the page and share your thoughts with actual words. Finally, you can head over to youtube.com/user/MMO Reporter Network to look at our YouTubeified episodes of the podcasts, as well as the coverage from cons, stream game coverage, and all that kinds of good stuff there. And the actual final place to find us is, of course, on patreon.com/MMO Reporter for you to express your generosity and express the amazement that you have that we've actually banged out 179 of these. So there you go. Yep. Patreon.com/MMO Reporter.
Yep. Awesome. Thanks so much, Bill. A fantastic show.
Oh, thank you. I'm feeling effluviant.
Wow. Big
Wow.
words. Thanks.
I heard the dictionary rustle as he was going through the words. Never mind.
It was all internal. I was looking for the hardest word in my head. I don't even know what effluviant means. I just know I've heard it before.
That's hilarious. Thank you, of course, Leonor. Always a blast.
Well, thank you. I'm hoping to bang out another 179 of these.
And Harry, as always, an absolute pleasure, sir.
2 more. I'm out.
And I just added up real quick. I think I'm sitting somewhere around 650 to 700 podcast episodes that I have been a part of. So there you go. Thanks, everyone. It's been an absolute blast. You've been a blast to have in the chat room as well. We've had some people chatting with us in the chat room. It's always fun when we have that. Thanks to all of our listeners for downloading the podcast week after week. We really appreciate it. We hope that you download the podcast again next week. But most importantly, we hope to see you in game.
Don't forget about your ults you need to cherish. Each and every little character you've got, no matter what level they're at. Don't forget about your ults you need to cherish.